Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources.
Hi, I'm Kerry Fink with Helping Seniors of Brevard. Welcome to Helping Seniors Television today. I'm so glad you've taken a moment to tune in and join us today. I have the privilege of sitting in for our president and founder, Joe Steckler. You know, Helping Seniors of Brevard is a Florida nonprofit that serves the seniors along the Space Coast of Florida. And one of the things that we do is we operate the Senior Information Helpline. I'm going to give you a minute to grab a pencil so you can jot that number down. It's a free call. And what we exist to do, we take 150 or so calls every month from seniors and friends of seniors and loved ones of seniors, and we try our best to connect people to information and resources that are going to make a difference in somebody's aging plan. It's also one of the reasons why we do all the media that Helping Seniors does, including television programs like this, because we want to get information into your hands that will help you define your aging plan. So let me give you that number to the Helping Seniors Senior Information Hotline. That is area code 321-473-7770. One more time, it's 321-473-7770. Now, one of the things that I'm really excited about, because one of the calls, and we've discovered as we have all of our television programs, radio programs, print articles, everything is available to you on demand. You can go to our Helping Seniors website, which is helpingseniorsofbrevard.org, helpingseniorsofbrevard.org, and you'll find lots of great tools and resources there, and you can search for whatever the topic that your interest is in. And I was telling, our guest today is Dr. Kevin Kilday. Dr. Kevin Kilday is the owner and operator of the Holistic Health Center here along the Space Coast of Florida, and has a great deal of experience in all areas of naturopathic and health, basically healthy living, if you will. And we were talking before the cameras were rolling, is that one of the most commonly searched topics that we find as people access the materials that are available on the Helping Seniors website is about pain and ways to mitigate pain. So I'm really glad that we have the opportunity to devote a program here today to talk with that, and we have an expert on this with us, Dr. Kevin Kilday of the Holistic Health Center. How are you, sir?
I'm great today. Thank you very much.
So we're going to really hone in on pain and pain management and the things that you guys have found that really make a difference for that. But let's start with just tell us a little bit about some of the specialties, because I know your expertise begins, you've helped people through addiction recoveries. You also have protocols that are working with people who are fighting through cancer, and then you spend a lot of time on the pain side. But give us a little background of what you do through the Holistic Health Center.
Yeah, Holistic Health Center, we help people with chronic health conditions across the board. I do have a specialty in alternative cancer solutions, I call them. It's a total holistic approach to helping people with cancer. Either with, combined with traditional medicine or in lieu of traditional medicine. Mm-hmm. I have a total protocol that I wrote on my website, which is holistichealthcenter.us. Mm-hmm. And the protocol is called Winning Against Cancer. And it consists of detoxing the body, changing the diet to a low acid, high alkaline type diet, and recommend a lot of vitamins, mostly herbs. However, as with any condition, I only use herbs that have been clinically studied for that particular health condition. I have to have the studies, otherwise I won't even consider recommending it. And also I help people spiritually. I'm also an ordained minister. So because holistic is mind, body, and spirit. So if you're treating, we don't use that word. If I'm helping people with cancer, then we address the whole thing: the mind, the body, the spirit. So physically, we do the detox and change the diet and recommend herbs. Spiritually, if they wish, I can pastorally counsel them on their relationship with Jesus and their God, and also a lot of times people end up getting depressed when they get diagnosed with cancer, because it's one of the most scary words to hear when a doctor tells you you have cancer. It's probably one of the most frightening phrases that people hear in their lifetime, and so it affects with a lot of people. It affects them emotionally and mentally. So you have to have with dealing with the cancer, or really any chronic disease, you have to have like a fighter mentality, and because one thing about treating cancer is very big on increasing the oxygen, because cancer can't live in an oxygen environment, and they found that people who are diagnosed as being clinically depressed actually take in 30% less oxygen than a person who's not depressed. Wow. So it's a double whammy. If they're not taking in enough oxygen, it could affect their recovery. So I always address that and then ask them a few questions to see where they're at, and so looking at their mental outlook and making sure they have proper care, their caregiver who's helping them, or family, because when you're fighting disease, any chronic disease, it's best to have loving, caring people around you for support. You don't need toxic people in your life when you're battling for your life.
No, that's for sure. Now, one of the things, and I know we're going to dive specifically into pain management, but I thought another of your areas of specialty is in addiction recovery. And one of the challenges we hear in today's world is people talk about opioid crisis and things like that. So when we think about addiction, we might first think about something like, oh, it must be a illegal drug user, but sometimes it could be just that in our efforts to treat pain, we've become in some way so intent on muting the pain or whatever that we end up with an addiction problem.
Right. I was a part of a team that was a church-sponsored residential drug rehab program for a number of years, and I was assisting them in pastoral counseling and also nutrition. And it was a residential. We took over some apartments, and we had about 80 beds, and we had a very good success rate. We hovered between 70 to 80% of people staying recovered, after they completed our 8-month program. And again, it was the same type of program. It was the mind, the body, and the spirit. But then when I started Holistic Health Center, I got kind of away from addictions, because I was helping so many people with cancer and other things. But when our U.S. government declared an epidemic a couple of years ago, and then my oldest daughter says to me, says, "Dad," says you need to get back into addictions. Says, I'm finding too many friends of mine that I graduated high school with, and she's only 32. So, her friends are dying. Her friends are addicted to drugs. They're homeless, and everything else. So, So I put together, I sat down and I said, well, let me do some research, and because I never really, me personally just didn't care for the traditional way that people are instructed to do recovery. I'm not saying anything bad about the meetings that people go to out there. They have their purpose. But just stopping drugs and just going to meetings, you're not going to fully recover. Mm-hmm. You need to address the nutrition part of things with addiction. Also, long-term use of drugs affects the chemicals in your brain called neurotransmitters, mm-hmm. and so you have to rebalance the serotonin levels, the dopamine levels, the norepinephrine levels, the endorphin levels. You really have to rebalance them, because if they're out of balance, that in a lot of cases continues your craving for drugs.
So let's talk a little bit about, and it's interesting because we're here filming our television program at the Senior Resource Center of Brevard, and that is the home for Helping Seniors of Brevard. We're located beachside, right at South Patrick Drive, fairly close to where the Old Galley Causeway comes in. But part of the Senior Resource Center of Brevard, we do an ongoing series of community information events. And today, you were actually speaking at one of those events this morning, and the topic, coincidentally enough, was about pain relief. And you were sharing some statistics that I want to ask you to share on today's television program, because I wonder if a lot of times people getting into trouble with things that end up being addictive could be an attempt to self-medicate through this pain. And when you were sharing mm-hmm. some of those statistics about the prevalence of pain, particularly as we age, I wanted to ask you about that a little bit.
Well, I mean, the opioid epidemic is going on today. I believe the root cause of it, just opioids now, of course, is pain. When people went to the doctor back in the, just a few years back, and a lot of doctors were prescribing the opioids. Mm-hmm. And at that time, they didn't know the long-term dangers of it, or right. how highly addicted they were. So then when people were taking them long-term and tried to get off of them, that's when they really had some major problems, and a lot of them switched over to heroin use because they cracked down on the doctors who were just giving them out like candy, and just made them very hard to get, and you really have to be diagnosed with severe pain in order to get long-term use of them, and so on and so on. So a lot of people who just end up being addicted, and they were self-medicating, really they switch over to heroin. And now with today, with the opioid epidemic also includes heroin, and because of the heroin being mixed with fentanyl, it's causing a great problem, because it's not controlled, and right. people are just ODing and stuff. But yeah, the initial root cause is chronic pain, right. And so when I recently started to, I'm a researcher. I like to make sure I research things and educate, further educate myself. Right. And so some of the statistics I came up with about the root cause, chronic pain, is there's acute pain which only lasts for a short period of time. That may be after an injury mm-hmm. or something like that, but chronic pain is something persists for weeks, months, or sometimes years. Then is called chronic pain. And there are some very alarming statistics out there. I mean, 50 million Americans are affected by chronic pain.
Think about that for a minute. 50 million Americans. That's like a fifth of the population almost.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And and it is the leading cause of long-term disability in America.
Wow.
You know, another statistic which I found very interesting, and I never knew this, is that 70% of those affected by chronic pain are women.
Wow.
You know, and most people are surprised when I say that, because everybody I know that are suffering from pain, most of them are men.
Right.
They're suffering from joint pain or back pain or neck pain, but according to statistics, 70% of them are women, and they say that the chronic pain rates are steadily increasing among the 18 to 64-year-olds, or even higher. 50% of all working Americans have lower back pain.
So this is pretty prevalent when you
Yes.
start to think about it.
Yes.
You know, Joe Steckler, our president and founder, who is 86 years old, he's often made the statement, he goes, growing old is a tough business because it also seems like as we age, we run into more pains and things that are coming up. Let's talk a little bit about how you sit down with people and you talk to them about natural supplements and ways to alleviate some of the pain they may be experiencing. And we wrote down here, this could be vitamins, it could be herbs, it could be essential oils,
Right.
supplement, things like that. Talk a little bit about how you sit down with somebody if they call your office and they say, listen, this is getting a little bit unbearable, and I don't want to become addicted to a prescription thing that might cause me trouble down the road. How do you sit down with somebody, and what are the routes that you take with them?
Well, I mean, I do one-to-one consultations, and I always make sure that they're they are diagnosed by a medical doctor first, because I'm a doctor. I have a PhD in counseling and also in natural health. So I'm not allowed to diagnose. So I always make sure that they're actually diagnosed with some sort of chronic pain.
Right.
And then I find out if they're taking any particular medicines at all, and I always check for any contraindications that they may have with any herbs that I may mention, or that would interact badly with the prescriptions they're taking. And that could be any prescription, not just pain meds. But with that aside, there are a lot of herbs. I mean, that's it's known that Chinese herbs and Ayurvedic herbs from India, I mean, they have been around for 5,000 years.
Yeah, we were talking about, we live in a wonderful time now because not only do we have the benefit of, like you said, 3,500, 5,000 years of what we would consider Eastern medicine, but we also have the advances in Western medicine with the technology, and now you're able to bring all those together.
Right, right. And, a lot of medicines today, too, that people don't know that were actually derived, from plants.
Wow.
So you can really say that a lot of the medicines have an herbal, I mean, I don't know how many, but, I'm just saying a lot in general have an herbal origin.
Well, one of the things I remember you mentioning was that you're always careful to look for clinical studies backing up natural products. And again, that's one of the reasons the pharmaceutical industry is they say, listen, we have standards, we do testing, we do, that's why our stuff is safe. And it's nice to see that you take that approach into what you do on the naturopathic side.
Right. Well, that's very important. Like I said earlier, I only recommend things that have been thoroughly clinically studied and show, good positive results. So in this particular case, for pain, for instance, I would recommend an herb called Boswellia. Now, Boswellia is a compound in frankincense. Frankincense. Everybody hears that word periodically.
Christmas time.
Christmas time, right?
Right.
But there's a compound in there called Boswellia, which for centuries, thousands of years, have been used to reduce pain. Some researchers have concluded it's anti-inflammatory, it's anti-arthritic, and it's a great pain reliever, and it shows a lot of promise. The studies have shown that it reduces pain and inflammation in arthritis. And these studies came to the conclusion there was significant reduction in joint pain by up to 32 to 65%.
Okay. So as you look at these things, you're able to think of certain herbs or certain protocols, I guess, that are appropriate in those cases. Name it. You told me about another one. I was asking you the name of it. It sounded like you said feverfew.
Right. Yeah. That's the exact name of it. It's a medicinal plant, and it's used. It's been used traditionally for treating fevers. Maybe that's where they got the word from. Now it's used quite a bit for migraine headaches, for rheumatoid arthritis, toothaches, and even stomach aches. And it's the researchers come to the conclusion it does reduce inflammation. It relieves muscle spasms. A 2011 study concluded that it does have pain relieving properties to it, and even the American Migraine Foundation has endorsed it as being helpful in preventing migraine headaches.
And what's funny about that is if I think about supplements that I had historically been familiar with, the things, you're supposed to take your vitamin C tablet or something like that, these are two things that I had never heard of before. So then one of the questions that would lead me to ask you is, how do you find these products, or how do you know how to get them and how to use them?
Well, I mean, as a researcher, like I called myself before, I mean, I just have sources where, I can find, clinical studies really on any ailment, and and I have, numerous sources now. How I do it, I have about 5 or 6 sources, and these studies would have to appear at least on 4 of them before I would recommend them.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if I just see something there and it's just really appearing in one library I'm in, but not appearing on the other 5,
then it's sort of suspect.
It's an isolated.
You don't know yet.
Yeah, it's an isolated study, and there's no backup to it, so I don't consider it.
So now, from a viewer's perspective, if you're sitting there and you're saying, wow, I'm having one of those days where the pain is just moving on and having trouble getting through it, how do people get in touch, or what's the process by which they would make themselves available to find out more about the Holistic Health Center and different ways that you might be able to assist?
Well, soon we are working on it as we speak. There's going to be some product, on my website. There's already information on various herbs, primarily for cancer treatment. But there are going to be some on there, listed for pain also.
Right.
And soon, in a matter of a week to a month, depending on the product, you're going to be able to purchase it online, which is holistichealthcenter.us. Right. But in the meantime, if they call me at 321-549-0711, they can talk to me personally, and I can find out what they're up against, and and just just find out what they're suffering from, and then I would ask them to make an appointment, and then we can sit down one-to-one, and I can go over some things with them.
Right, so I'm going to ask you to give that phone number again here in just a moment, so please grab a pencil. But before I get there, so the process would be somebody would give your office a call, they would speak with you, kind of say, here's what's going on with my case, and then you'd be able to sit and consult with them. Now, is that a costly thing to make that phone call and get in to start asking the questions, or how does all that work?
No, I have actually I have 3 locations where I consult with clients. One in Melbourne, one in Vieira, and one in Merritt Island. And I just do that to make it convenient for everybody in the county.
That's good.
They can call me and make the appointment, and I would meet them in one of those locations.
So, and let's give that telephone number one more time.
Yeah, 321-549-0711. And most times I answer the phone. And
let's have that website one more time.
Yes, it's holistichealthcenter.us.
Yeah, and I think if you visit that page, you'll be encouraged by the amount of resources that you will find right there. Because a lot of times taking advantage of the things that you could learn online with that really might make a difference. And you also get some more insight into the practice that Dr. Kevin Kilday has. So we're about out of time. I wanted to thank you for joining us today on the TV program and sharing this. You can always call us at the Helping Seniors Resource Center too. I'm going to give that number one more time before we close out. 321-473-7770. 321-473-7770. And we'll be happy to try to get you connected to any resource that's going to help you in your aging plan. I'm Kerry Fink for Helping Seniors of Brevard. Thanks for joining us today.
Stackler, thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses, and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we would welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.